Are you worried? Right about now, a lot of people are. You've got in the US and elsewhere, you've got tariffs on Canada, tariffs on Mexico, tariffs on China. First they're on, then they're off, then they're changing. Now, do those things impact things? Absolutely. You got stock markets that go up and down again. So, if you're worried, you're not alone. But let's talk about that. Mark Twain lived a long time ago, pretty bright guy, wrote a lot of books, and did a little bit of philosophy on the way. Said that he's worried a lot about things, the majority of which never happened. And I say the same thing. 90% of the stuff you worry about is never going to happen. If you want to prove that to yourself, for the next 5 days, when a thought comes into your head to worry about something, write it down. And then 5 days, when you're done with that 5 day log, go back and look and say, okay, oh, didn't happen, didn't happen, ooh, did happen. And you're going to find that the majority of things that come into your head, just like negative thoughts, and Napoleon Hill said it really well, that negative thoughts are like weeds in a garden. They just come. Your job is to pluck it out and replace it with something else, a positive thought or positive, idea of what you want to accomplish. So think about that. The other thing that I think would help a lot of people is don't spend time on things you can't control. Spend time on things you can control, but can you control what percentage tariff is going to be placed? Probably not. So understand that there are things that you can work on and there's things that you can't. The other Mark Twain quote that I love is that worry is like a rocking chair. It can occupy your time, but it's not going to get you anywhere. And that's very true. So think about that as you go through these times. The other thing to think about is that during periods of chaos, during periods of uncertainty, for us doing business acquisitions, there's opportunity. I remember a CEO of a company saying, I am not going to go through another downturn. So there are people who would look at these situations, the uncertainty of them, etc., and say, you know what, I don't want to go through this. It's a good business. It's still profitable. Don't do turnarounds. But it's about time to get out. So it causes them to do some things that they might not otherwise do. Things like seller finance gives you the opportunity to do that. And a lot of that we're talking about in the Acquisition Advantage Bootcamp, which is going on right now that I'm doing. So think about those things you can control. Think about those things that you can't control. I was asked by a friend if I would MC his 80th birthday party. And of course I said yes to that. But then I was thinking about, okay, I got to MC it. I got to come up with a speech. I can do that. Oh yeah, but I got to wear a tuxedo. And so it's been a long time since I put that tuxedo on between COVID and other things that have happened. So I'm thinking, okay, how long is it going to take me to get a tuxedo, and where am I going to get a tuxedo, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I said, okay, what can I do about that? Well, the first thing I can do about that is try on the tuxedo. Yes, it was a little tighter, but it still fit from that standpoint. Interestingly enough, the tailor, if I want to get a new one, said here's what it's going to cost. But those come from Canada, so there may be a tariff which I can't control, and that'll affect the pricing. So there's an example of a couple of things that occurred. One of them I could control. I could see if it fit. If it didn't fit, I could go and say, okay, I can lose weight, maybe, or I can get a new tuxedo, and understand the consequences of both, certainly. But there's plenty of uncertainty. There always is. In chaos, there's people that survive that profitably. There's people that don't. And in large part, it's figuring out what can I do, what can't I do, how can I take action, how can I make this work to my advantage. And I would encourage you to think that way. There is a difference between fear and worry, and we've talked about both. Fear, false expectations appearing real. That's usually an immediate response to something. Seeing a car coming down the road, if you're in the road, you have an immediate response, hopefully, to get out of the way. Worry is more in the future. What if, what if, what if? So remember those things and remember that there is opportunity. Remember, what action can I do? So don't sit in the rocking chair going back and forth worrying about something, saying what action can I take, and am I going to move forward on these business acquisitions, or am I just going to pause and go back and forth like in a rocking chair? So I hope that helps. I hope that you are taking action. If you don't know what to do and you don't know the steps, which are really important to follow, the Acquisition Advantage Bootcamp that I'm doing is 6 weeks. We've done 3 of them live. The remaining 3 will be live. The first 3 are put up in Kajabi. You can go into that and review the ones that have already been uploaded, so you're not going to miss anything. You'll miss the Q&A from the first 3, but you'll have an opportunity in the last 3 to ask questions. So go over to brucewhipple.com, go to the boot camps and classes, and look for that Acquisition Advantage 2025 edition. Feedback's been good so far. I've been working hard at those presentations, and normally I talk about a subject for an hour, and then we do a Q&A after that. So hour and a half to 2 hours, somewhere in that range each week. So there's a lot of material. You will know what to do and how to do it after you go through those. So I hope that helps. I hope that when you think about situations and realize that you're worrying, treat it like a weed in a garden. Grab it, pull it aside, and put a more positive thought or action in there, and your results almost always will be much, much better.